going on, everyone? It's Moose here with Airguns in Michigan, and today we're going to talk about the Benjamin Kratos in .22 caliber. This is part of the Craftsman series. As most of you already probably know, you have the Aquila and the Caden as well. I did pick this up in .22 and not .25 intentionally because I'm a huge fan of .22 caliber. So, not that I think that the .25 isn't a good shooter. We've obviously seen people out there reviewing that one, and we know that that gun is incredibly accurate as well as powerful. However, I wanted mine in .22 caliber. So, unfortunately, it's the beginning of winter here in Michigan, and I don't really have a good outdoor spot to shoot. I actually shoot from the inside of my basement, out my back, walk out, out into my front yard. Front yard because I live on a lake, backyard for most of us. I was getting great groupings at 25 and 40 yards. That's the furthest range that I have at my home range. This gun is yet to be past 44 yards. With the JSB Hades in the 15.89 grain, I was getting an average of 920 feet per second. Pretty good, if you ask me. With the JSB Exacts in the 18.13, I was getting an average of 846 feet per second. Once again, still pretty good in my opinion. That was with the power wheel turned all the way up, at least as far as I know. Yep, all the way up. This video is actually kind of this one's kind of a tough one for me. You know, this video I'm going to dedicate over to Brian at Our Ranch Airgun Fun channel. Brian is a great YouTube creator, and actually got given one of these Kratoses by Shooter1721. And Brian unfortunately fell into some bad health and is not able to actually review the gun that Rick gave him. And he put out a video today, and he was an I'm sorry video for not being able to do it due to health issues. And I promptly stepped up and said, you know what, dude, I got you covered, man. I'm going to go ahead and shoot a video today, and we're going to get it posted. And I'll do whatever I can to make that video possible for you guys to see on his behalf and my behalf. So thanks for tuning in. So let's get talking a little bit about the gun. The first thing that you notice when you get one of these out of the box is that amazing Turkish walnut smell. I mean, the first time that you put your cheek on this rest, and that cheek rest, and you just kind of smell it, it's so aromatic. And I love the smell of walnut. I really, truly do. And this gun just really reeks of walnut perfection. It's amazing. I love it. The gun itself shoots extremely well. In all of my shooting with this gun, once I got this sighted in, I've probably got about 2,000 rounds through this gun. I mean, at 25 yards, it's a pellet stacker. I mean, it's a tack driver. I don't care what you put out there, it's going to hit it. At 40 yards, it's pretty much the exact same thing. In all honesty, this gun is zeroed at 25, and when I shoot 40 out of my back again, I don't have to do any adjustment to my scope. So it's just that good. It has a slight drop to it, but nothing that hunting, in my opinion, would require a holdover. You might have to allow for windage, but holdover-wise, nope, does a great job. The fill port on this gun is actually located on the bottom here, and I will say that it's a slight bit challenging on occasion with a standard, fill nipple off of your tank or your compressor if it's the short stuff, because you have to kind of reach your fingers in there and kind of, try to get, especially if you have bigger hands, and I don't have huge hands, but it was still a little challenging. I do have a longer fitting on my tank and on my compressor, so it's easier for me to click it on and off. But the gun does fill to 3,000 psi. It does relatively well, although I would say that I don't really think you get to that sweet spot until you're probably at about 2850. At about 2850 psi, this gun kind of loosens up. The hammer just kind of hits a little bit sweeter, and your velocity starts to increase. At that 3,000 psi fill, it's a little, it doesn't struggle, it's not huge, but you're probably talking maybe, I don't know, 7 to 10 feet per second slower at that, that full fill. And then you kind of come into that nice slope, and it's game on from there. At full power, shooting the 18.13s, which is my preferred pellet, this gun roughly gets 5 magazines, and that's 5 magazines of 12 shots. So you're talking 60 shots. I mean, it does pretty good. About after 60 shots, you're down in about the 1,500 psi, maybe 1,300 psi, and it's probably time to hook it back up to the compressor, or your air tank, or your air pump, whichever one you choose to use. This is a larger bottle, so hand pumping, while it can be done, is definitely going to be a little laborious, and it's probably, if you're not a young guy and you're more my age with quite a bit of a round figure, it becomes a little strenuous, in which case you're probably going to want a tank, or you're going to want a compressor, or both. The optic that let's back up. So the cocking lever on this gun is very smooth, very, very smooth. It takes very little effort, locks in very positively. It does bump loose, but it locks in good. Never had the action move on me. Decocking is quite simple. Hold the lever back, pull the trigger in, and then just let the lever back forward, and you've decocked the gun. The safety mechanism is right in front of the trigger, and it's got a very nice positive click. You can hear that audibly. And not unsimilar to like the Marauder that has more of a post switch, but it is nice having it right in front of that trigger. It is very, very convenient. It certainly beats the heck out of a side switch or a push button, old school, lock. The trigger is adjustable, and I think I have this trigger down to about just under 2 pounds, which is very comfortable for me for what I use the gun for. This gun, even though I do shoot it out of my back door, it is a hunting rifle for me. It is something that I want to take to the field to shoot squirrels with, rabbits, things like that. So, with that being said, I don't want a 6 or 8 ounce trigger where when my glove might be sliding in there, I'm shooting rounds off and potentially hurting somebody or scaring out the game. So, that's where I like the trigger on this one. The shoe is actually adjustable as well, and there's a really great video out there on adjusting these triggers. It's done by my friend JC over at Airgun Detectives. Shout out to JC. He actually did a great video on how to adjust the trigger, not only on this rifle, but as well as the Aquila. If you have either one of those and you guys want to check out how to adjust that trigger, go ahead and search for Airgun Detectives. I think it's Airgun Detectives. Oh, he just added something to the end of it. Either way, do a search for Airgun Detectives. You'll find him. JC's his name. Tell him Moose sent you over from Airguns of Michigan. The magazines in these are very well made, in my opinion. Very similar to the Marauder. However, they do load differently. I don't have one in front of me. I meant to grab one, but it doesn't matter because I wouldn't load my gun in the house anyway. Well, technically I would. But I didn't, so no more excuses. I just forgot. But the magazine does slide in with a nice positive click. Once it's in place, once you've basically ran through your rounds, it will not let you move the action back forward once it's depleted of pellets. So no chance in just firing off a dead round and missing a game or even a target. You can double feed this gun, so I do recommend to be a little careful. Unfortunately, not a lot of people out there, are really kind of into that whole anti-double feed thing. Don't know why, but they're not. So, hey, everybody out there, let's guys try to hook us up. Make it easier. Help us not to double feed, because it does happen. Sometimes you just forget that you already loaded it, and you load it again. Either way, it is what it is. This rifle is topped with the Monstrum Alpha Series 6-24 by 50. This is a first focal plane scope at an amazingly good price. If you guys want information on that, go ahead and look them up. Monstrum Tactical. This is the Alpha Series 6-24 by 50. First focal plane. This is non-illuminated. However, side adjusting parallax. Great crosshair in my opinion. And honestly, I think it's probably the best first focal plane scope at that price. My opinion. The barrel shroud itself does a very good job. This gun is really quiet, easily backyard friendly. Not quite as quiet as my 22 Marauder, but they're made by different companies. And that Marauder, it just is what it is. Marauders are a thing of beauty. And this gun is really no exception to that rule either. Even though it's made by Crawl, at least that seems to be the general census, this gun is every bit as good as what anybody would expect from Benjamin Airguns. I've yet to have one problem with this gun. It does not leak. I've never had a failure of any type on it. It's incredibly, like I said, accurate. I honestly don't think you can go wrong picking up a Kratos. The only reason that I went with a Kratos and not an Aquila, and there's only really one reason. I wanted more shots. I wanted a higher shot count out of this bottle than I was going to get out of the Kratos 2. That's it. Seriously. No other reason. I think the Aquila is a beautiful gun, and I still may pick one up. It does have a Picatinny rail on top. It is a rubberized butt pad that's very comfortable. The gun shoulders extremely well. I don't think anybody out there would have a terrible time with it. It does actually come with a Picatinny mounted rail that you can screw into the bottom here. However, I opted to go with a sling mounted bipod for two reasons. One, this when they built this, there's only one screw. So while this one holds relatively tight, you can, with the bipod on there, still turn it, and the whole entire Picatinny rail can move to the right or the left. I didn't want that, and having this was just as convenient in my opinion. This bipod flips off relatively quickly, and obviously it's got dual sling mount still, and I can sling this gun and take it out into the woods all day long. Which most of the time I am going to remove my bipod because I do have a bog death grip, and usually when I'm out squirrel hunting, I like to find a nice spot in the woods, grab my chair, throw my gun on my bog, and just sit and wait. Sit and wait for those little suckers to come out of the trees, at which point, guess who's there? Moose. But all in all, like I said, an amazing gun. I highly recommend this gun to anybody whom is trying to get into PCPs. These are, you can actually find these things relatively cheap. Honestly, I would have a hard time if anybody knows me out there, you know that I love Marauders. I just think, honestly, the Marauder is about the best PCP gun that you can get for that $500 price range. And that is an unregulated gun. Well, so is this one. However, there's something to be said about the Kratos, man. This thing really is a work of art. It is a beautiful gun. While I think the Marauder might edge it out in a few different areas, one, it's probably 5 decibels quieter, if that, maybe 4 decibels quieter. The trigger on the Marauder, it's better. However, this gun does have a noticeable first and second stage. It's just not quite Marauder. And if you have a Marauder and you're curious, it's just not quite there yet. But once again, I have nothing bad really to say about this gun. I think it's an amazing piece of workmanship. I think that Crawl and Benjamin did an amazing job building it, and I would have no problem in the world entertaining to anyone who is out in the market for, especially a Craftsman series, to pick one of these up. And that's the Aquila as well, because really the only difference between this and the Aquila is the Aquila's on a bullpup stock, and instead of a bottle, you get a cylinder. That's it. There's no other difference. Oh, well, and the trigger. Obviously, because it's on a bullpup frame, the trigger is not directly mounted to the block like this one is. It's actually got a linkage from the trigger mechanism back to the block. So, outside of that, it's an amazing gun. I honestly, really, I don't have anything bad to say about it. The checkering feels good. Just the build quality feels good. The walnut is nice and smooth. Like I said, it smells amazing. It's actually got a power adjustable wheel. You can actually see it from this side. You can see that there's just a little wheel right there, and I'm turning it from the other side. And you can do it with your fingers. It doesn't take, you don't need a tool to do it. All in all, man, it's a good gun. So that's all I got for that, and I will get you guys some shooting video. I will hook up the scope cam or the side shot to it, and you know, I'll show you guys some groups, and we'll release a part 2. And I'm sure that you guys are going to end up seeing this in the future out in the woods hunting squirrels and bunnies. So with that being said, hey, thanks for watching. This is Airguns of Michigan. I'm Moose, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take care.